Okay, guys, let's talk about the salt tanning method. Also, technically, this is not tanning. This is just preserving a hide, but one and the same. So these are two squirrel hides that I have tanned using borax, which is interchangeable with salt. I left these covered in borax for 2 years and covered in like a solid inch of borax. What happens is that borax or salt seeps into the hide and it eventually like calcifies in there and sticks to the hide permanently. So there's like a layer of borax, all this white, that is just permanently seeped into this hide. It is formed with the hide. When you're doing this, the key is time and not messing with the hide. You want to, I did this for 2 years. I just covered it and just left it there. I'd say minimum, I'd say 30 days is probably cutting it. I'd say like 50 to 60 days would be pretty safe. The key is this hide has to have the salt seeped into it and formed into it. Because if it's not physically in the hide and you try to bend the hide, it's going to be super brittle and it's going to break. That's why I also say only do this with small game. This would work with big game, but you'd have to leave it for a lot longer and use a lot more borax or salt, and the hides would be very stiff. And a big game hide is very heavy, so if you pick it up and it's not properly finished, that hide's going to bend and crack, and you might crack your whole hide in half. So I like doing this with small game, like rabbits, squirrel, maybe even fox. But again, the key is time. If you can brush off the salt and you can see bare skin, like on this hide, the skin's kind of yellow, but you can tell there's still salt seeped into it. So that is okay. And this hide's actually a little bit more flexible, but this salt method is not going to give you a flexible hide. It's going to give you a pretty stiff hide. So it's good if you just want a hide that you can just hang up on the wall and you want to stay preserved for a really long time. This is also great if you suck at fleshing hides. If you suck at fleshing hides and you don't want to completely flesh a hide, you can see where there was fat and skin and whatnot left on this hide. But the salt just did it anyway. So fleshing isn't as important with the salt method. You just have to, the more fat or the more meat is on the animal, the more time you have to let it sit in salt. If your hide is not completely fleshed and you're doing the salt method, I would leave it for multiple months, like probably 4 or 5 months covered in borax or salt. Just get a big box and just coat it in like an inch of salt or borax. So even if that salt absorbs a lot of blood, there's so much salt in there that it just keeps absorbing. Stay tuned for more videos on how to tan hides.